Story 1. If you like a guy, tell him. We are often unaware of your feelings, so we may come across as creepy. Approaching someone directly is sometimes viewed negatively, so please do not play hard to get. It does not lead to positive outcomes. Story 2. If you want to get a guy to like you, you need to make eye contact and talk to us like a normal person. About 10 years ago, a woman told me, "You look cool. Would you like to grab a beer sometime?" I still think about her a lot, mainly because we are now married with kids. Your experience may vary, though. Story 3. Stop playing hard to get. Men do not enjoy the chase. It is annoying and gives the impression that you are not interested. Story 4. This goes both ways, but the best advice I would give to anyone dating is to avoid setting expectations for your partner that you yourself could not meet. Sounds simple, but the vast majority of people fall victim to this. Story 5. Many men who approach you with confidence have practiced and regularly engage with women. If you want men who are not focused on casual encounters, you will need to be comfortable with initiating conversations. Story 6. Do not listen to those TikTok dating coaches who go on and on about masculine energy, feminine energy, and high-value concepts. We men are human beings, not some foreign species. Story 7. If you are worried about a man being only interested in sex, simply do not sleep with him right away. Wait for a few dates, at least. Most men looking for a quick and easy encounter will give up. It's not that men lose respect for you if you sleep with them too quickly. They were usually just not that interested in the first place but would settle for sex. Also, never try to use sex to obtain a man or a relationship. Men do not usually bond in that way. If he says he is not interested in a relationship, believe him. Story 8. Women often underestimate how attractive interest and enthusiasm are, even more than physical appearance. Additionally, taking the initiative to make things happen is important. A significant turnoff for me in dating has been how uninterested and passive some women can be, which often leads to me doing all the talking and planning. Moreover, many seem to lack hobbies beyond social media and movies or TV shows. Conversations can become tedious quickly when I am the only one with interesting topics to discuss, apart from my job and whatever is available on streaming services. Story 9. Don't meet a guy who has a hobby and expect him to change. Chances are he probably wants you to join. Be ready to support him even from the sidelines or don't. Story 10. Dating a partner who meets 80% of your checklist is not settling, especially if your checklist is extensive or highly demanding. Story 11. After the first date, if you are interested in your date or think there might be something there, please text them shortly after the date to convey that you had a good time and enjoyed the conversation. This first interaction can go a long way. Story 12. If someone says they are not looking for a relationship or do not want to have children, accept that this may not change, regardless of how amazing you believe you are. If you are not comfortable with that reality, then leave as soon as possible before becoming too emotionally invested. Story 13. Men are not mind readers. If something needs to be conveyed urgently, it is better to be direct instead of using overly sweet language. Story 14. Show genuine interest and ask questions. Do not be afraid to take initiative. Be clear about what you want from dating, but also have realistic expectations. Avoid playing games or being hard to get. Just be open and honest if you like someone. Story 15. Be playful. I think most men view a date as a job interview until they know better. It's very disarming to engage in something low-key and laugh about it. Try mini golf, visit a casual restaurant, relax, and enjoy yourself. Just make it fun for them because dating can be stressful. Story 16. Know what you want before you start dating. Always be safe and inform a friend or family member about your whereabouts. Story 17. If I could give advice to women, it's this: men do not necessarily want what women think they want. We are not driven solely by physical attraction. From what I've learned in talking to many men, they desire women who validate them, are understanding and empathetic, allow for emotional vulnerability, and are genuinely kind-hearted individuals. Story 18. Put your phone down. I am happily married, but I notice this when we go out. Our phones are put away, and we have talked each other's ears off for 13 years now. I am sure you have something to discuss. If it isn't going well, just be honest. Story 19. Pay attention if he makes eye contact during the date. I cannot feel comfortable doing this if I am not attracted to the person. Story 20. Be more active in everything. Conversation, pursuit, initiative, planning, everything. Nothing is more boring and uninspiring than individuals who expect everything to happen for them. Story 21. Find out what you want from your partners and be honest about it with yourself. Don't think about what society tells you, but follow your actions objectively and see which of the three categories you fit into. 1. Hookup. 2. Relationship until the honeymoon phase is over. 3. Lifelong monogamy. Understand that it is essential to practice how you play for the more committed relationships. Habits formed through casual love can be very difficult to undo later in life when you feel ready. Accept the category you want to be in without shame, regardless of which one it is, and never date anyone in a different category until you have proven to yourself without a doubt that you are ready to change categories. Story 22. Instead of sitting around thinking of ways to leave hints for men to act on, simply talk to them and ask them out on dates. This piece of advice will be ignored by 90% of women, even though it is the easiest way for them to get a date. Is it because they believe whoever asks the other on a date has to pay? Many women will do anything to avoid paying for a date. Story 23. When you make a mistake, apologize in a way that doesn't place the blame on others. If you were involved in it, take responsibility. Story 24. You are going to downvote me, but men are not as emotionally intelligent as women and do not pick up on what you think are subtle cues or hints. We need it straightforward. Story 25. When I was on the online dating scene, I encountered many individuals who were less attractive but acted as if they were very desirable. A highly attractive person who is demanding does not interest me. A less attractive person who is demanding is unrealistic. Story 26. Stop using vague hints and approach men more often. Most men are not aware of subtle signals and are often led to believe they should never talk to women with romantic intent. As a result, women may appear to be just friendly most of the time. If you genuinely like a man and feel safe around him, and he has shown positive traits, then approach him directly. Women often express that they enjoy being desired, and men feel the same way. Story 27. You cannot change him. He will never change for you. Be open with your emotions and communicate your feelings, desires, and wishes. Do not just rely on emotion. Also use your head when selecting a partner. Call me. Story 28. It takes two to tango. If you don't reciprocate in conversation and only provide yes or no answers, you shouldn't wonder why people stop putting in effort. Testing people is a surefire way to upset them and to demonstrate that you don't trust them, which leads them to feel they shouldn't trust you in return. Story 29. Heard this a while ago and it is worth repeating. There are men who will love and treasure you and help you with your life goals. There are men who will use you and hinder your life goals. Sort them based on their actions rather than their words. Both types may desire to have a sexual relationship with you. Your responses will influence the type of relationship you end up with. Set boundaries and enforce them consistently. This will be your primary tool for sorting. Story 30. The spark is not genuine. It is simply emotional lust. A fulfilling relationship is not built overnight. If you are not feeling a romantic connection immediately but still enjoyed your time, do not dismiss the person right away. Try to create a romantic atmosphere for the next date and see if anything changes. Story 31. Don't blindly trust your intuition. Men who are experienced with women and those who are genuinely dangerous, such as narcissists or psychopaths, can easily deceive you, leaving you unaware of the danger. Conversely, decent men may often be nervous at the beginning, which can lead to that uneasy feeling. In fact, studies show that in toxic relationships, women often feel positively about their date after the first meeting, while in long and stable relationships, they tend to feel uncertain. We are all human. We make mistakes and experience stress. Story 32. Men do not solely seek casual relationships or physical intimacy. If that is what you are experiencing, It may be due to pursuing individuals who already attract significant attention from other women, leading them to believe they do not need to commit to fulfill their desires. Story 33. Stop having checklists and try to be interested in men as people. Get off the apps. It's time to start approaching men and getting used to rejection. Story 34. Be braver and more willing to give new people a chance. Give fewer chances to those who mistreat you. Story 35. My advice is to avoid dating advice from men on Reddit unless you intend to appeal to insecure and misogynistic individuals. Story 36. Bail at the first sign of aggression or hostility. It is unfortunate that I must express something so obvious, but I know too many women who have, in the past, completely ignored the worst kinds of red flags in the early stages of dating, and they have ended up suffering at the hands of an abusive partner. In my mother's case, she suffered alongside her young child. I have lost count of the number of times I have had conversations with friends, colleagues, or relatives about their abusive ex-partners. The conversation often goes something like this. Did he ever show any signs that he might be capable of that kind of abuse when you were still getting to know him? The response is often, no, he was so nice when we were dating. Well, actually, there was that one time after we had been seeing each other for a few months. We got into an argument, and he grabbed me by the throat and pinned me against the wall. Not every abuser will provide an early warning sign or a chance to escape before things take a turn for the worse. Please do not ignore something like that. As a man, I can honestly say that not attacking women is extremely easy. I have never done it, and I have never thought about doing it. There is no excuse for that behavior. If a man treats you that way, it will only get worse if you stay, so do yourself a favor and leave. Story 37. TV movies and fictional books are created to sell a fantasy, not to provide an accurate depiction of the reality of men. Story 38. I chatted with some girls at a bar a few weeks ago. They started talking to my friend and me, and while they weren't particularly attractive, they broached the topic of dating. They said things like, has to be attractive, tall, wealthy, and my friend and I are both 5 feet 10 inches and reasonably good looking, but we didn't meet any of their criteria. They became quite sloppy and attempted to kiss us both, but we politely declined. This happened on a Sunday afternoon. The advice I offered them, considering they were intoxicated, surprised them. I asked if they would rather date someone who makes them happy or someone who looks good in pictures. Both admitted they had pursued men who made them look good in photos, yet they often felt unhappy. My advice is to be physically attracted to the person you want to date. However, if that's at the top of your list and the more important qualities for long-term relationship success are at the bottom, it's time to reevaluate and change your priorities. Story 39. Don't waste your 20s sleeping around and partying. Your 20s are your best chance to find a high-quality man and secure a commitment from him. No one will be waiting to marry you when you're 35. You have far less time than you think. Did you know that 80% of women who never had children initially planned to have them? They waited too long to start looking and couldn't find someone to settle down with before time ran out. As a woman dates more men, her standards increase while her perceived value decreases with age. At some point, her standards exceed her value, and she risks spending her life alone. No one she desires will want her back. There should be a name for that moment in a woman's life. Ideas? Story 40. Learn accountability. I doubt it will happen because, in large part, it goes against female nature, but that's all I have. Everything else is fine. Additionally, do not seek relationship advice from your single girlfriend who cannot maintain a relationship under any circumstances. In fact, stop sharing our personal business with her. Story 41. Enthusiasm. One-word responses get you nothing from me. I will just leave you on read after the third one. Regardless of how you claim to be really attracted, learn to flirt. Be direct. Take self-accountability. I am more than capable of admitting that I was the problematic side of a few of my relationships. The narrative that all of them were crazy and behaved this way or that only holds up until you start showing traits or behaviors that would definitely cause any human to become upset. Give compliments. Men want to feel desired and wanted too. Don't fake it. Teach. Feedback is better than criticism. There is such a thing as friends. But if you know your friend is obviously holding a torch, he isn't your friend. I am not your ex. I understand baggage, but I won't be your punching bag, and I won't tolerate that. Your accolades mean about the same to me as my hobbies mean to you. However, the passion you have in achieving them is important. Be honest about what you are actually attracted to. You might want to be attracted to the perfect guy, but if you aren't, then at least you know it. It's like admitting you like a food you're allergic to. Nobody wants to be breadstick Brandy or chicken tender Charlie or salad Steve when your steak stand comes out overcooked. Don't be like a cat. A cat gets fed, housed, and loved on but somehow still thinks it owns the human. Men aren't your dogs. If you're hungry, say so, and specify what you want. Feminine traits are powerful and strong in their own way. Need evidence? Look at Cleopatra. She used those traits to run a kingdom. I'm fine. No, you know it and I know it. Story 42. Do unto others as you want to be treated. You want to feel wanted rather than used. If you want a guy to prioritize you, then return that feeling. Essentially, be the good you seek. Story 43. You are not as attractive as you think you are. Be realistic. If you are overweight, the best you can expect is to attract individuals with similar traits. If you are financially struggling, the best you will find is someone equally in that position. If you want a traditional partner, you need to embody traditional qualities. Know your strengths and limitations. For example, I am a tall, stocky, bald man with facial hair. In the biker community, I can attract some interesting individuals, but I am not going to be dating supermodels. Story 44. Date someone who is good with their finances, has their own independent living situation, and is emotionally stable. Story 45. If you're happy, don't listen to those who tell you that you shouldn't be. Don't take advice from people who are not in a position you want to be in. The spark is important, but it's not the only thing. A compromise between logic and love must be found. Don't be afraid to have disagreements. If you don't, the skipped fights will turn into resentments. Pay attention to what men actually want, not what they should want. Focus on what is, not what should be. Sex appeal gets you attention, but it's not always the right kind of attention. Looks may get you through the door, but character and actions keep you inside. If you're dating for marriage, look for husbands, not boyfriends. You can never rely on the idea that he'll change. His fun-loving, carefree attitude that attracts you now may lead you to want to leave him in the future. A boyfriend might spend his entire paycheck on fun, while a husband will spend his money wisely, still enjoy himself, but ensure he has funds for responsibilities. It doesn't matter as much how you feel about someone as it does how they feel about you. Just because he's perfect for you doesn't mean you're perfect for him. Yes, you definitely need to have strong feelings for him, but if he doesn't reciprocate, you can't make him. Don't confuse attention with intention. Story 46. Spend more time evaluating men for their intentions and less time trying to change them. Men pursue what they want in their lives. They do not simply sample women and then decide where to categorize them. A man seeking casual encounters is unlikely to decide he wants a committed relationship simply because you are exceptional. He determines whether he desires a relationship by observing existing relationships and then seeks to fulfill his desires. He is not exploring options until he finds the right partner. He is either looking for casual encounters or is not interested in them. Understand what he wants and move on if it does not align with your desires. It will be significantly easier to find a man who wants something more than it is to change this one. Additionally, if you cannot find what you claim to want, it may be because it is not your primary selection criterion. This is why women often give poor dating advice. If I were to ask a woman for advice, most would tell me what they wish the men they are involved with would do more of, as that reflects what they are missing. It is what they are not prioritizing in their selections. It is what does not lead to intimacy. It is a classic example of survivorship bias. Story 47. If you choose to go on second or third dates only with men with whom you have instant chemistry, you are limiting yourself to those who make great first impressions. Story 48. If the men in your life are giving you brutally honest dating advice, accept that they are being straightforward and be open to their honesty. Story 49. If you would be there for this person beside his hospital bed, and you would be there to defend him from a witness stand. Only then is it right to be in a bed with him. No sooner. That eliminates all dishonorable individuals and only leaves men of honor and integrity. Story 50. Think of the apps as a resume for dating. You want to present your best self. If you say something like, "Let's go on a mediocre date so I have something for the group chat," you are not portraying yourself as a desirable person to date. Story 51. Date your best friend. He is probably the highest value man who truly cares for you. Let's expand on what an actual high-value man is. He works hard and likely dedicates 2 to 3 hours a day to personal growth. If he is loyal, he isn't spending that time on dating apps or juggling casual relationships. He doesn't spend excessively. Instead, he may be investing in a project or covering a family member's medical bills. He is financially responsible because he grew up with less and didn't let his insecurities drive him to spend excessively. The right man who recognizes he has a life together won't bring a child into it as a partner, especially if he is looking for a serious relationship. He won't try to impress or excite you. Rather, he will engage with you to see if beyond the initial attraction, you will bring stability to his life. He's not exploring options and often finds most women tiresome and immature. The only reason he is dating is that he knows he needs to relax. So, be honest, direct, and warm. It's your job to show him what you want. If he resonates with your offerings, he will work to turn those ideas into reality. That's what men do. Men don't plan or read minds. They see a smiling woman and respond. If he was raised well and had female friends who complained about men, he won't assume you want a dominant partner. If you don't want to start from a neutral position, tell him you want to feel cherished and suggest doing something special for him on your next date if he prefers to be more budget conscious. Encouraging such sentiment is important. His finances are also connected to your future. The sooner you make intimacy his responsibility, the easier it will be for you both to relax. Communicate when you want to be intimate and ensure he commits to respecting that, even when emotions run high. This sets boundaries and holds him accountable. On the downside, you might experience frustration if you genuinely like him, but this lesson will show if he cares about you as a person. Avoid playing games or setting timelines just because he is kind and understanding. The easiest way to lose a good man is to be unreasonable. Remember, you want to keep this man, not test him to find his limits. Only those who don't care about your feelings will pretend to accommodate unreasonable demands. A man who envisions a future with you seeks a reasonable, understanding, and considerate partner. It doesn't matter how you perceive yourself in the right relationship with the right man. If you can't express that on the first date, you won't be able to do so when life gets challenging. Ask out men you connect with and admire within your peer group. Most successful relationships don't involve significant socioeconomic or age gaps. Your best match will likely come from your circle. Unless you find yourself in a challenging financial situation, strive to improve your circumstances, seek new friendships, and choose from that new social group. The right man desires a partner, not someone who appears to depend on him. Good, kind men will step up when necessary, but they want a successful partner. Stronger finances lead to a stronger household. Those who want to save you are often seeking to control you. Their interest stems from a desire to feel powerful, not genuine concern for your well-being. Story 52. Ask any man in your life and ignore most of the advice given by other women. When it comes to anything regarding men, Story 53. My advice is to stop expecting men to pursue you. That opportunity has passed. You will need to pursue the men you want, or you can expect to remain single. Story 54. Be yourself and don't pretend. No man likes a woman who acts one way and then, over time, shows a different personality when she is comfortable. Story 55. Just voluntarily touch him more. Girls don't realize how good it feels to receive a back scratch or kisses without asking for it. Story 56. Be honest and direct. Do not play games. Just try to have fun without trying to gain something, and then you can be open and feel at ease, making us comfortable. That approach would work for me. Also, if you use makeup, keep it subtle. I want to see your face, even if it is not perfect, rather than a mask. Story 57. Stop with the hinting. We're juggling a lot already, and we might not be well versed in reading between the lines. What seems obvious to you may be a blind spot for us. Listen, I didn't realize the bin in the kitchen was almost full. If you want the garbage taken out, just let me know. Giving me the silent treatment and then raising the issue 4 weeks later doesn't do anyone any good. Story 58. Most men will not approach you anymore because of the abundance of aggressive women. It is simply not worth the risk for men to face a potential sexual harassment suit just to express interest in someone they do not know. There is no guarantee of reciprocation, which is why many choose not to approach at all. Therefore, you should consider making the first move. Ensure that it is a clear and confident gesture that indicates your interest in something more than friendship. Story 59. Playing hard to get isn't attractive, and it's dangerous to place the responsibility on men for pushing boundaries, only to set them up to overstep and be labeled as creepy or weird by society, along with all the negative consequences that come with such a label. Always offer to split the bill. It will likely be declined anyway, since usually, the person asking the other out is expected to pay for the venue. However, the offer goes a long way in establishing mutual respect and showing interest. Even if you're not interested in a second date, it's still polite to make the offer. Don't be loud or obnoxious. I know you think it will help you get noticed or stave off your anxiety, but exercise some discipline. That impulse is not your friend. 95 times out of 100, it will just turn him off. Ladies, too much makeup can be excessive. Sometimes less is more. Specifically for online dating, take the initiative to approach men first. Do you think men are the only ones who are shy and fear rejection? Be bold. Hey or hi aren't effective openers. If a man sent you that, you would likely ignore it, so don't repeat mistakes you know are mistakes. Be yourself. If you usually order a steak, then order a steak. If you like a steak with some wine, go for it. Unless you're driving or have other commitments, of course. Don't sit there with a salad and lemonade or pretend to be something you're not just to fit into a mold you think you might want. That's unwise. You know it's unwise, so just don't do it. Story 60. Don't wait for someone else to make plans. Have your own ideas for a date. It can be frustrating to meet someone and risk doing something you enjoy while they may not. This can lead to a disappointing experience. Alternatively, you might feel pressured to interrogate them in order to discover their preferences, attempting to connect that to options around the city. Ideally, choose something you already know to minimize the possibility of a bad experience or unnecessary expenses. After all, you will likely be paying for the date. Story 61. Just an odd remark about how I see love. That's all. Please be there if I need help. You might not understand how romantic that actually is. I will be doing overtime for a woman and will try my best to never speak a word in my defense. At the same time, I have to reassure her, no matter how bad it looks, that I'm fine. Things just happen to work out. She must be loved and cared for, even when I'm not sure. Thank goodness we live in abundance these days. Story 62. Hints do not work. If you are going to spend your time and energy on hints, just walk up to him and ask him out. It will save you a lot of time and frustration. Story 63. I love this thread. I'm married to the man of my dreams, yet I still continue to learn. I wish all my single girlfriends were Reddit users. They could really learn a thing or two instead of complaining about being single because men aren't great. Coming from a woman, thank you, men of Reddit. Story 64. Don't play games with your love interest, except cooperative video games. In this time, making the first move to a woman is literally like walking through a minefield, thanks to social media and difficult individuals, so we would appreciate it if you could make the first move. The probability is that we understand your obvious signal correctly is approximately 0.0000273%. Understand the difference in love languages between genders. Men tend to be more active and expressive through touch rather than talking. Story 65. Stop using euphemisms. You probably aren't thick. You're just overweight. And be sure to include a full body picture in your dating profile. An attractive face but an unappealing body isn't worth my time. Story 66. Be upset if you want, but lose weight. Most American women are overweight, and it is not appealing. Men do not care about your career or your degree. Sorry, but it's true. We care much more that you are attractive and kind to us. If your dating profile starts with anything like tired of games or looking for a man, not a boy, I assume that you've had negative experiences with many unsuitable partners and have no interest in managing the aftermath. Put your phone down. Look around the room and find a man you like. Smile at him. Avoid going back to your phone. If he comes to talk to you, still do not look at your phone. No man alive can compete with the endless source of entertainment and validation you receive from your device. Most men know not to try at this point. You are harming your chances by doing this. For most men, your significant presence on social media is at best neutral and mostly a turn-off. Story 67. In a nutshell, it normally boils down to lowering your standards. It often suggests that being 5 feet 10 inches is acceptable, and if you are 5 feet 5 inches, you don't need a man who is over 6 feet tall. It also encourages considering stable individuals with careers over attractive musicians who work as bartenders. I suppose some of this is related to the idea that long-term stability isn't always exciting. Story 68. Do not let your friends tell you to end a relationship over trivial matters. Instead, focus on how he treats you. Base your decision on his treatment of you and others. Story 69. Many comments encourage women to approach men, and I support that for various reasons. However, I want to add one thing. When you do approach, choose any place except the gym. Please approach at the grocery store, coffee shop, dog park, or anywhere else. Approaching a man at the gym may give the impression that you are superficial. It's the only place I do not recommend for making such an approach. Story 70. If you choose to have sex with someone, do so because you genuinely want to, not to manipulate them into a relationship. Story 71. If the guys you would swipe right on are probably only interested in sex, and the guys you would swipe left on are good guys you would never be seen with, life is going to remain tough. Story 72. Grow up and stop listening to your friends who have had numerous boyfriends in 2 years. They will keep you single and alone just where they want you to be. Story 73. You need to approach men you're interested in. It's easy. Go up to the man you're interested in and start a conversation. Hi, my name is Susie. How are you? What's your name? There is no way around this. You have to take the risk of rejection. You wanted equality and fairness. Now you have to do some of the heavy lifting you expected men to do. Learn how to reject a man quietly, firmly, politely, clearly, and directly. Simply say, I am not interested. That's all you need to say. Be nice. Take care of your appearance. Be available. Do not engage with men you are not sexually attracted to. If you can't see yourself in bed with a particular guy, don't go out with him. Reject him clearly, firmly, directly, and politely right then and there. If you are not feeling it for a guy, end it. If you can see yourself in bed with a guy and go out with him, but change your mind on the date, reject him clearly, firmly, directly, and politely. Cut it off immediately. If you were feeling it but now you're not, end it. Use your words. Communicate clearly and directly. Do not expect a man to read your mind. Put down your phone and stay off it while on a date. Stop playing hard to get. Leave behind the outdated the rules mentality. If you want a traditional man, you need to be a traditional woman. If you expect to be a non-traditional woman, then you don't get to have a traditional man. This means you may need to contribute financially at times. If he has to put up with your behavior, then you also need to tolerate his. Do not lie about your past experiences. We will find out. Sex is important to men. If you don't want to be intimate with a particular man, do not date him. Let him go. Don't expect marriage or anything legally binding. Be open to non-traditional long-term arrangements, including civil unions and contracts outlining what happens in the event of a breakup. If you do expect marriage, be ready to review and sign a prenuptial agreement. Story 74. It is normal to feel nervous. Nobody should judge you for it. He is likely feeling nervous as well. If you do not feel comfortable, you are under no obligation to continue with the date. Consider having a backup or escape plan ready. Story 75. Relationships are built on good communication. The term hint refers to a form of intentionally poor communication. Story 76. If you want a good man, don't expect the suave guy who says all the right things at the bar or the person whose dating profile is impressive to be that guy. That individual has an agenda and has done this hundreds of times. He's there for a casual encounter. If that's what you want, that's fine. Go for it. One-night stands are valid. But if you seek a real relationship and not a friends with benefits situation, you need to start approaching. It doesn't even have to be anything special. Just ask the next guy you're interested in if he'd like to get coffee sometime. Even if he isn't interested, most guys never get asked in their lives and will appreciate being asked at all. Story 77. If you have male friends, please introduce them to us. If we are able to form relationships with them, it will not be an issue at all. Story 78. State your intentions clearly. Do not rely on hints. If you continue to wait for the perfect partner, you may miss out on developing a fulfilling relationship with someone who is good enough. Physical attraction is important, but the most essential aspect is feeling safe and comfortable around each other. A good relationship is not a transaction. It is a shared investment. Story 79. A question and answer job interview format is the worst kind of date. You'll never be satisfied with his responses, and if he has any self-respect, he will dislike you for conducting that type of date. Choose an activity you both enjoy and do that together. Don't play hard to get if you like someone. You don't need to be overly obvious, but drop subtle hints that you are interested. If he is socially competent, he will pick up on the cues. If it primarily involves body language, you can easily shut it down if he turns out to be unsuitable, without having said anything he could use against you. Bring something interesting to the conversation. Don't just sit there asking questions about where he is from, his job, his income, where he lives, or where he studied. Discuss a hobby, make recommendations, share a good story, and be genuinely funny, even if it's just one-liners. Story 80. Invite us out once in a while. It doesn't have to be the first date. However, if you initiate a second or third date, we can be much more certain that your interest is genuine. Story 81. The talkative forward guy is the one you should be afraid of and often will take advantage when he gets the chance, not the shy guy minding his own business. Story 82. Communicate effectively. Share your thoughts when you are interested in us, when you are upset, when you are happy, when you need something, and when you require space. Effective communication is the greatest predictor of whether a relationship will last, and it is the hallmark of a healthy relationship. Story 83. If you believe that the men asking you out are not good enough and you are not taking the initiative to approach potential mates, you have no one to blame but yourself. Story 84. Being rejected by a man looks very different than being rejected by a woman because you can still be useful, even if we know you aren't suitable for a wife or girlfriend. Our rejection is usually silent. Story 85. Start putting yourself out there the way you expect men to. If you hope he will ask you out, then ask him out yourself. Stop playing games. Stop waiting for him to do for you what you are unwilling to do for yourself. Story 86. 1. Men aren't women. We are men. We think like men and we communicate like men, and how we do those things isn't bad or wrong. It is just different. Stop getting involved with men and then emotionally punish them for not communicating, thinking, or emoting like one of your girlfriends. That's because we aren't one of your girlfriends. We are men and will communicate, think, and emote differently. Now, that isn't to say there aren't areas where men can learn from women and vice versa. However, you likely chose the guy you are dating because you found those differences desirable. So then, why after entering a relationship with him do you emotionally beat him down and try to fix him until all the differences and male qualities that attracted you to him in the first place are gone? If you want to be successful in maintaining a long-term relationship or marriage with a man, take time to learn about men and specifically what intimacy means to them. In a long-term relationship or marriage, intimacy is how we feel connected emotionally to our partners. So when you withhold intimacy, it feels the same to us as it does to you when we give you the silent treatment, because talking is a large part of how you feel connected with us. This isn't just a theory. There is well-documented research done over decades by researchers and professionals. I want to be clear. I'm not saying you should force yourself to be intimate even if you don't want to. Neither of you would enjoy that. What I am saying is maintaining a healthy intimate life needs to be a priority for you in the same way that effective communication is a priority. So if you aren't feeling it or lack desire, it needs to be a priority for both of you to figure out what's going on and solve it, because it's not about the intimacy. It's about his emotional connection to you. For men who desire intimacy, once our partner stops being intimate, regardless of relationship status, we become just roommates. Affairs, excluding serial cheaters and liars without morals, often start from unmet needs within the relationship. For women, emotional affairs stem from feeling a lack of intimacy with their partner and not feeling valued. So they seek that through conversations with other men, which can eventually turn physical. For men, it's the same. We feel a lack of intimacy with our partners and don't feel valued or validated beyond our income. So we seek that emotional connection and validation elsewhere. But as I mentioned, the way we feel emotionally connected is through intimacy. Lastly, this forum is called Ask Men, not Argue with Men. Question was asked and I answered it. If you want to reply to my comment just to argue, please don't. Story 87. I want to express two things, the latter being more recent. First, do not play foolish games. This includes being hard to get, engaging in mind games, or acting mysterious. If you say no, you cannot expect me to interpret that as a yes, but only if you chase me. The recent point is to avoid listening to social media trends. They often come from unreliable sources and contribute to the first issue, which is why I mention this second. Story 88. When you share your long list of requirements from an ideal partner in your mind, you should ask yourself what this person would seek in a serious relationship. If your list consists of things that do not directly benefit them, you may be out of luck. A little hint for you, your degrees and income are part of that list. Story 89. Know what is truly important to you. Share the list with someone you trust who is older. Then be flexible about everything else. Do not dismiss a great person over trivial matters like clothing choices. If you tell your grandmother you only want a man who works in finance, has a trust fund, is 6 feet 5 inches tall, and has blue eyes, she will disapprove. Story 90. Understand that men are very different from women. They have distinct wants and preferences. Their minds operate under different rules, especially regarding dating and intimacy. Here are a few important things to know about men. Just because a man will sleep with you does not mean that he would commit to you. If you are not considered highly attractive, an attractive man may still be willing to engage with you, but that does not elevate your value in his eyes or suggest he would ever consider a commitment. Your worth is not defined by a brief encounter. Commitment signifies a deeper bond. The act of sex holds significant meaning for men compared to women. Testosterone is the primary driver of libido in both genders, with men averaging much higher levels. Going without sex can be physically distressing for men. It is a need that resembles hunger or thirst. Sex serves as a primary motivator. Men will invest status, money, time, and effort to seek it out. Conversely, women may use intimacy to gain status or resources. Men and women often have opposing desires in this regard. Men place considerable importance on the quantity and novelty of sexual experiences, which may not resonate as strongly with women. While women often seek one ideal partner, men typically desire multiple partners. Although quality is important to men, quantity holds equal significance. A man is unlikely to exchange the prospect of relationships with multiple women for a commitment to just one. This explains the challenges women face in gaining commitment from highly desirable men. Many women pursue these men, but they are unlikely to relinquish their sexual options. Men are generally more attracted to women in their 20s, regardless of the man's age. The further from your 20s you are, the less appealing you may become to men. It is not advisable to wait until your 30s to search for a long-term partner. The quality of men willing to commit decreases significantly with age. Many women are unaware of this reality, which can negatively impact their lives. Media portrayals do not accurately reflect real-life relationships. Wealthy, attractive individuals are unlikely to delay marriage until later in life. Respect holds greater importance for men than love. Disrespect can jeopardize a relationship. At best, a man may withdraw his efforts. At worst, he may leave the relationship if he feels he cannot escape. Consider whether what you are about to say to your partner would be acceptable to say to your supervisor. If not, consider rephrasing. You may feel frustrated about these observations, but they are rooted in biological programming. They are not social constructs, cultural or learned behaviors that can be unlearned. Expressing anger towards these truths will only lead to a decrease in honesty from men. Story 91. Do not automatically apologize for something you did. Have a discussion about why you do not believe what you did was wrong and put yourself in your partner's shoes. Story 92. Open communication is essential. Many people do not understand hints or hidden messages. Please express your feelings directly. Story 93. Communicate. Don't expect us to be telepathic. If you are thinking something, please tell us so we can continue or stop based on the situation. We don't want you to be miserable. But if you don't share what's wrong, we will never know. I have seen it too many times where she endures something she doesn't enjoy and then runs to social media and her friends to criticize me about something small that could have been easily adjusted. Story 94. Men do not read between the lines very well. Be honest and direct with us. Do not say that your last breakup was entirely his fault. It will be just as untrue as when we say the same thing. Story 95. No, there aren't hidden layers to what we are saying. When we say we aren't hungry, that's exactly what we mean. When we say we are just tired, that's exactly what we mean. My sister and several female friends have said that a woman will say one thing to a man in the hope that he will pick up on clues that she wants a different thing to be understood. What is going on? You said you wanted to be left alone, you said you wanted tacos, you said you were tired and wanted to sleep. Why say that and then get angry when I do as you ask? Story 96. Give guys a break. Most of us struggle to pick up on hints and do not always know how to act around women, especially since women are quite different. You will need to train him a bit. He will not be perfect right away. Additionally, most men do not earn over 6 figures per year, but they work hard and will likely treat you well regardless. Story 97. We cannot read minds. Discuss what you want and need, and if something isn't working for you. Communication is very important as it can both solve and prevent problems. Story 98. Don't play dumb games. For example, if I threaten to break up with him, how will he react? You will likely get dumped. Story 99. Stop calling men creeps or falsely accusing them of sexual assault just because you dislike them or do not find them attractive. It is extremely sexist and needs to stop. Story 100. If you want a long-lasting relationship, cultivate kindness within yourself. An attitude can be perceived as interesting, flirty, or simply annoying. However, it will only be captivating and flirtatious for a limited time. Ultimately, regardless of how you view the world or others, if you are not kind, you will find yourself alone. Story 101. Always pay your share on the first date. This will accomplish 2 important things. It shows that you value him as much as he values you, which will impress considerate men who see you as a complete person. It will also reveal men who do not regard you as an equal. They will insist on paying and treat you as if you were merely a desirable object. Don't let them do that. You are worth more than that. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.